Hello, this is Elaine Sugar, award winning children's program facilitator and overall supporter of children's dreams. Welcome to the Empower Teen Self-Esteem podcast. We bring you ideas and resources that help teens shine and help ease parents' minds. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this episode of Empower Teen Self Esteem. I have two wonderful ladies with me. They do great work with children. We are going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves and tell you about the wonderful work that they are doing. So, today we have with us Addie and Claudia. So, welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me.
You.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. We're super excited to be here hanging out with you. We always love our discussions with you.
Yes, we do. We have a lot in common with the missions of our company and our commitment to making sure that children grow into the wonderful human beings that we know they will grow into when they are adults. So first, let us pause
You
for a
got it.
moment. Yeah, we'll let each of you introduce yourselves and then tell us all about life skills for confidence.
All right. Sounds good. So, hi, I'm Addie Rausch. I am a life coach and mentor for teens at Life Skills for Confidence. I love what I do. You know, mom and I have been working together for the past 2 years, preparing teenagers to transition into adulthood successfully. But mom's actually been doing this for 10 years. Long story short, she began this program 10 years ago as just kind of these are tips that she wanted to share with her grandchildren and turned it into kind of a program in person, was teaching teenagers, young people on the weekend. I was working my corporate job, still loving life. I had a team of 20, helping her on the weekends. And then when I left helping her on the weekends, I was just on fire. Like, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher. It was just so exciting. The curriculum that she was teaching, the lessons that these students were leaving with, just amazing, amazing. So mom came to me and said, all right, I'm going to retire and I'm going to stop teaching this program in person. It's just getting a little bit too much for me. And I said, no, you're not going to retire. I'm going to quit the corporate world. You're not going to retire. And we're going to turn this in-person curriculum into an online extravaganza. No, I didn't say that, but that's kind of what it feels like instead.
Yeah.
So we took her, it's been such a fun journey. So we took her course and we broke it down into 10 to 15-minute lessons, and they're all online. So we did videotapes, we added music to the lessons, and the lessons cover everything from, we like to say that we help teenagers, and tweens, really the 10 and 11-year-old population. Those students have been really great students recently, and those parents are very excited about enrolling their teens in our program. Anyway, for their tweens in our program. So we like to say that we help them smile with confidence, and the smile is social skills, mindfulness, inner strength, life skill tips, and etiquette. You want to add?
Pretty good. Going. You covered it pretty well.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Claudia McBride, and I'm the author and founder of Life Skills for Confidence. I have had so much fun putting together the lessons. I think they are so important that we reach the kids at this age so that they know they have more confidence about the types of situations they're going to be getting into. So I know they understand from their parents a lot, which is wonderful. And so just getting the word from someone else, I think is helpful. I realized, right the beginning of our lessons just talked about how determined you have to be, how hard you have to try. And I think that kids don't even, realize the impact that they'll have when they step out of the home and they have to face
Yes.
all those that have so much more knowledge and more education and more money and all that fun stuff. So we hope that that they'll see that ahead of time so that they're just a little better prepared at knowing how to take care of themselves and how to deal with stress. And which I think is one of the topics we're going to talk about today, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
It's
I love your story about how you got started, and I think that in and of itself can be a lesson for teens or something to think about. Sometimes when there is quote unquote a problem, that's an opportunity to actually do something different. So your mother was actually doing this on her own, and she, it had become a bit much, so she was going to step away from it. There was an opportunity for you to actually become her business partner. So
Mhm. And
I,
done a fabulous job. It's just been so fun to see the lessons that we were teaching at the community and at the Parks and Rec were like 2 hours, and we had them hands on, which was the hard part for me. I hated to give up the hands on part,
yeah,
but then when I realized that the lessons had 6 or 7 different points, and when I saw that we could tear them up and we could take them and put them into a 10 or 15-minute lesson, I thought this is actually going to be better for the kids. They'll ponder those ways of thinking a little bit easier, I think, by giving them smaller bites.
yeah, and I think that's also a good thing because there's so many of us who are busy today. And sometimes when we think of being busy, you think of adults, but there are a lot of young people who have school, of course, and then they have their after school activities. They still have homework to complete, they still have chores, and then they want to do some fun things that they enjoy with their friends. So everybody's busy these days, young people and adults. So I think just knowing that it's something you can bite off in 15 or 20 minutes makes it very easy to figure out how you can fit it into your schedule. So I love it.
And I think one of our major goals too is to help them find their own authentic self. And to do that, we've approached this with identifying feelings and then helping them to put together where these feelings are coming from and how to manage them so that the feelings can be turned into thoughts that are positive thoughts and positive actions.
Yeah, that's great. And just in case there are some young people out there who just heard you say be your authentic self, and maybe they're not sure what you mean by that, because I'm myself because I'm me. So when you say be your authentic self, what is that about?
Well, to me, it's very easy to understand because they don't know too often how they think or feel. They have had the influence of their families around them and their school and their environment, and they haven't been exposed yet to all of the different types of interests that we have in our world. And so, for them to begin to say, "I have a passion for something,"
Mm-hmm.
where did that come from? What is it? I am feeling something special and I want to know more. That's when we begin to walk them through all of the opportunities, not only for public speaking and for going to classes and stuff, but to have the experience and the opportunity to explore and find other things that are connected with what they're interested in.
I love it. So it's about honoring the things that you enjoy, exploring those because that's where you find your passion. And so you've been exposed to your point to what your parents know, which is great, and what schools expose you to. But you start to connect with the things that, wow, I really like this and I'm interested in this and I want to do more of this. And that's how you find your passion. So that's being the true you. So that's fantastic.
Good job, Elaine. Yeah.
exactly. And then the other thing too that I really found is that other it seems like the teenagers and even myself, I remember being this way. You want to be, and even being an adult, you want to be like the other person. If you're introverted, you want to be extroverted. If you're extroverted, you want to be introverted. If you have curly hair, you want straight hair. But if you have straight hair,
Right.
you always want what you don't have. But I think really understanding who you are and understanding what your values are, what your beliefs are, like who you are at the core. If you are introverted and extroverted, it's still feeling, thinking. that really kind of helps you to embrace it. So then you go, okay, I am an extrovert. And sometimes people think I'm weird because I'm super enthusiastic, but that's okay, you know? Okay, I am who I am, and now how can I be okay with myself? Because you're a mirror. If you're okay with yourself, then other people are going to be okay with you. You feel comfortable with you, and then they're going to feel comfortable with you.
And just in case our some of our listeners are not sure what introvert and extrovert is, can you just kind of plainly state what the difference is?
Absolutely. So extroverted means that you get your batteries charged being around people. You get enthusiastic, you feel good, your bucket is full being around other people. And then introverted is your bucket gets full by being by yourself, being alone. So sometimes I feel like, especially if you're introverted, I feel like you can feel bad about yourself because you don't have the desire to want to be around people because you're okay being by yourself. You get your bucket full by yourself. And then I feel like with the extroverted population, sometimes they feel like, especially right now with the environment where some people aren't able to hang out with each
Yes.
other, so you kind of have to figure out, okay, can we talk on the phone? Can we do FaceTime? How can I get my bucket filled? But yeah, and just those two differences. Do I like to be around people? Does it make me feel good?
A lot of our courses is about balance, and that's
Yeah.
where our harmony comes from. So if you find that yourself is as more of a B type personality, where you'll take a back seat and you'll just help out with things like that, then you might, learn how to assert yourself and to speak up and to say, "Hey, I have an idea too," and not feel bad if they don't take your idea. But the idea that you have a responsibility to yourself to at least voice your opinion. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing with the outgoing people. I think we really encourage them to listen better and to take time and try to include others as ideas as well, because we just get a much better balance when we can be both, outgoing and pensive or listeners, good listeners.
Yeah, and I appreciate you all walking through the difference there because sometimes we as adults can misjudge. So, to our parents out there, you may have one child that they find their peace, they get their selves re-energized when they can have some alone time, and then sometimes you have some who that interaction with other people does that. So I think just being conscious that we're wired differently, and that just because I'm not
Yes.
behaving like my brother and sister, it doesn't mean that I'm not smart because I'm not actively talking, throughout the whole conversation. I may be being reflective inside because it's also about how we process information. So, our extroverts, and I'm an extrovert, I process when I'm talking to people. So if you come ask me a question, instead of me thinking about it in my head for a minute, I'll start talking. So, let me talk this out. Talking it through helps me. That's my decision process. But some of our introverts are quiet. They're not answering right away. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't know. They're just collecting their thoughts. So there's silence. There's alone time when you need to think through things. So it's really important that children understand it, but it's also important for us adults to understand it so we don't misjudge. So I love the lessons that you all teach. What are some of the other things that
And I
you
think you
focus?
have to combine them so that also you want to make sure that if you're this much, you add that so that you get that balance. And so if you see you're this way, then try to do more of that. So don't be as shy, or if you're the class clown, try to be respectful, and those kinds of things will make you happier.
Yes.
If
So
you
other
are,
things.
yeah, other things. We have
We have a
lots of
lot of
stuff
it.
that.
Yeah, a whole
But
list of them.
definitely, I like this topic. I think we
Mhm.
should maybe talk about this topic on another
Mhm.
that authentic self, because that is completely what we are seeing come out of these teenagers is they're finding something that is unique to them. They're showing us their artwork. They're saying, look, I drew this. Look, I made this. Like, and
I think the parents too really need to understand that uh, that their kids are okay, and it's okay to let the child know that they're okay. You're okay if you just want to, be more passive. Chances are that they can still find other interests and things that can draw them out. But and there's no doubt that they can be successful at anything they want to do. So the parents, it's not going to do you any good to sit there and put your child down just because they're not like you or something, or like you
Right.
think the world's supposed to make us.
If a parent is extroverted and the student is introverted, it is a little bit difficult for the parent to go, why aren't you
Yeah.
why aren't you interacting with people?
Yeah.
Or vice versa, like you were saying. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and I love the fact that Claudia, you were saying that the idea is to be balanced. So if it's time for you to give a book report, we understand that you might be introverted, but guess what? You need to have that skill, which is why we
Mm.
have the wonderful life skills for confidence and other programs out there that can teach you that, because you definitely don't want to get stuck in a box. You want that balance. You want to be able to stand up and give your book report. And if you're an extrovert and it's time for the class to be quiet, you can't expect for the teacher to continue to let you talk while she's, teaching a lesson. So balance
Mhm.
is definitely the key. Just understand that being one way versus another doesn't make you any better or any worse than that's just who you are, your authentic self. But you learn to balance so that you can handle both situations when you're required to speak, that you can speak and do it with confidence.
Now, our second module really covers mostly personal things. The first module really says, hey, you've done well. You're set up here. Now let's see what you're going to have to do to get out, to get forward. And then the third module is about social skills and all of the fun things that you need to learn to get out there and to do a good job of interviewing and stuff.
Eye
This,
contact.
the second lesson is more about mind, body, self, where we teach them how to relax. We teach them how to detach and walk away
Hmm.
from anxieties, where we talk to them about not only balancing their energy for that harmony, but how to de-stress, and to give their bodies the value that their bodies deserve. I mean, that whole cycle of energy is what perpetuates our whole existence, and that's why it's so important to have respect for other people. So
Yes.
important to have respect for all living things, and in that case, by taking care of ourselves, we're showing that love for others as well.
So you talked about respect for others, and I know sometimes you can have discussions with your parents, you can have discussions with your friends, and if I really think A and you really think B, it can become kind of an escalated situation sometimes. So, what are your thoughts? What do you do if you're a teenager and you're having this really, really heated discussion with your parents or heated discussion with your friends? How do you get your point across, but remain respectful if you and the person just disagree?
Well, that we have a whole method of communication that we start from lesson number 1.2, like right away, and we carry it through each of the modules. And so that method of communication is to state the facts, you know, and to look at what you think is going on, and what you that may be going on, to then recognize feelings is number 3. How is it making other people feel, and then how am I feeling about this? And number 4 would be to find some kind of a compromise, so that you want to try to achieve a win-win situation if you can. Whereas you say, okay, well, I accept that you believe this way, and I think that there's some validity in what you feel, and I think I've made my point of view clear, and so I'm excited that you've listened to me and appreciate that. So we'll just continue forward, and we'll keep an eye, because we both have the ability to make some good decisions when we cross that road or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I
And then
love about listening to you all respond to these questions is, first of all, your passion around this is obvious. And I know
my turn to talk.
I love your passion around this. And so I know for me, um, when I'm searching for something, when I'm searching for a service, I'm searching for something for a loved one, I'm looking for my loved one to be in caring hands. So I was responsible for finding my mother a nursing home. And when I went, I wasn't just looking at the building or what they could offer. What are the people like and what is their compassion like? Do they seem concerned, caring? And I just know for our parents out there who are listening to you talk about the program you have, they have to recognize how excited you all are about working with children and the passion that you have for it. And then when you explain the details of what you teach the children, it's obvious that it is so well thought out. So I hope our listeners will definitely check out your program. I just love you all's energy and passion around what you do. I really do.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. So do we. This is just such an awesome opportunity. I've had a passion for working with teenagers since I was a teenager, actually. When I was a teen, I would put different cliques together and I would say, it doesn't seem like they're treating you very well. Why don't you come hang out with us?
Look at you, Addie.
So I kind of had this eclectic group of friends, and it was just so fun. And then helping at the church after high school. But the
Uh-huh.
other thing I wanted to add to the when the topic just a second ago is when a teenager, when a child, when a tween is getting really, really upset at the person that they're kind of butting heads with, I think it's important to take a deep breath.
Okay.
Sometimes just like not saying what you want to say, but rather just breathing for a second. And if that makes the other person mad, then that makes the other person mad. But you need to take control of yourself and not respond with emotions and feelings, but rather like find that balance within yourself.
You can state the facts, and if it's a bad thing, it's okay, but say it kindly.
Yeah.
And not out of emotion.
Yeah.
You have to get yourself out of that state of emotion, whether it means to walk away for a minute, whether it means take a deep breath. But yes, exactly. The whole goal is to be able to speak
In a kind manner.
in a kind manner and state the facts. I don't necessarily agree with what you're saying here. This is how, but we can have a difference of opinion. I mean, Mom and I have difference of opinion.
Yep.
On occasion, no. Quite frequently, we're working together all of the time, and we have to do that as well. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Then we just leave it at that. You don't have to come to a resolution, but coming to a mutual agreement is always the best opportunity.
Well, at least everybody gets to be heard. Even the littlest kid gets to be heard.
Yes.
That's the important part.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that these lessons are really good for different ages at different times. So if your 12-year-old is watching the lessons, they're going to pick up on certain things like, oh, my parents says, oh, I get that now. But when they get to be 14 or 15, they're going to pick up on entirely different things.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go, oh, I want to know how to have a better relationship. I want to be able to walk up to that person. I want to know about that 3 seconds of eye contact, just so that they know that I'm interested in them. And, so it's fun because even the 18 and 19-year-olds are coming back and going, all right, now tell me again about how to set a table and which fork I use and, and how to, make sure that I talk to the host and say thank you. And,
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's like you can buy the lesson and then put it away and then dig it out again and put it away and dig out again. And it's fresh and new. It's really fun.
Yes.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. So why don't we take a moment to make sure that everyone knows, is really clear on what services you have to offer and exactly how they can get in contact with you. And then also, if you have anything coming up, any events or anything, I will just give you some time to share that. Make sure everybody knows how to reach you.
Okay, cool. So we were going to be discussing today, we were going to be talking about our teen stress guide. And this is a teen stress guide.
That's a free resource on our webpage.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
it gives
this
you
is a
9
download.
steps for inner calm.
This is a PDF
don't go
that the
through all
parents, I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell them about it so that they can
Well.
download it. So yeah, this is real life here. This is how you want to be interacting with your kid when they're in their 30s, late 30s. Okay, but anyway, so the first page just kind of gives them that checklist of these are the things that I'm stressing about, so they can give it to their teenager or their student, their child, and they can just kind of mark off, these are the things that I'm worrying about. And then the parent doesn't have to worry about, okay, crap, now what do I do now that I have gotten all of the stress from them? Because sometimes that's scary. You don't know how to walk them through their stresses. You don't know if you're going to say something wrong. So we've given them a guide, and the guide helps the child walk through their feelings, what they're thinking, what they're stressing, and any actions that they need to take. And all the parent needs to do is just kind of look through this guide after they've completed it and talk with them and just, be there for them. Okay, well, what do you feel about this? So it's
to help them understand themselves is better than try to tell them what to do. And I look at it that we have good information that someone can learn, but we're not teaching. I mean, they're the ones that are learning. That's how I feel about it. And the same thing with the stress management and finding your inner calm. The parent wants to be a sounding board, but not to tell the kid, what to do or what to think, because, that way the kid can't grow. If a kid doesn't stand up for themselves, and if they don't start thinking for themselves, not going to be ready to face that big old world out there.
I know.
Yeah.
And so then there's a 9 steps for creating inner calm. And that might be a nice thing for the parent and the child to do together.
Okay.
To relax your shoulders and neck. There's literally 9 steps that they can walk through, and kind of, it would be cool for them to do that together.
Okay. And you know what? That's a gift that you all are actually giving that away. So I'm expecting all of our listeners. There's no reason not to do this. We are hearing on the news right now, especially during the COVID shutdown, that just everyone's stress level was just increased. So there's no charge for this. So we're expecting no reasons why you will not go and download this guide. What a great gift.
Well, if they go into the www.lifeskillsforconfidence.com, on the menu, they'll look at and they'll see resources. And under the resources, there's parent resources and articles and teen resources and other good things to see. One of the teens that is in our group of models started a blog on depression. Wow. I mean, we've got her stuff in there too, stuff like that. But the point being is that they can find positive suggestions. They can find 5 steps to being successful. Simple things that they can kind of ponder on.
So like Mom said, lifeskillsforconfidence.com is our website. And then if you go into resources, they can find tons of information, teenagers and parents, to help them navigate their life, decrease stress. There's an area where they can determine, are they going to be successful? What does success even look like later on? We also have our awesome Teen Social Hour, and the Teen Social Hour is also free. Basically, everything that we have is free except for our Teen Empowerment course. And the Teen Empowerment course can be completed in 6 weeks. And right now, we're actually giving away a $40 Amazon gift card for any teenager that completes it in 6 weeks.
Wow.
If they complete it in 6 weeks, then we'll just email them a $40 Amazon gift card.
And the cost is only $197 for the program. So then they can get $10 off if they buy it today for $187. Then we send their teen a $40 gift certificate. Now they've saved $40. Plus, it motivates the teen to get in there and say, okay, I'm going to watch that lesson. And then all of a sudden they get empowered when they do it. It's just, dragging them into it supposedly is the biggest job.
Exactly.
You know what? That's, again, all very generous. And I love the thought that you all put into making sure that you're supporting teens and their parents. You have free resources. You have wonderful program, and you've given us your website. So I'm expecting that my listeners are going to that website and looking at all that you all have to offer. So we are going to wrap up this episode of Empower Team Self Esteem. I cannot thank Claudia and Addie enough for joining us for this episode. I think there has been a lot of very good advice shared today for teens and parents. You've definitely been told of a ton of free resources. So please check out their website. Thank you for joining us today, and please continue to join our episodes of Empower Teen Self Esteem. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Empower Teen Self Esteem. Please follow Kids More Sugar on social media. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel to show that you support this content. And you can visit our website at kidsmoresugar.com to learn more about our free online kids program. Thank you.